Golf's no different from hockey. Requires talent, self-discipline.
Golf requires goofy pants and a fat ass. You should talk to my neighbor, the accountant, probably a great golfer, huge ass.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers? By height.
It's a very, very special honor.
I'm Paula Creamer, and you're listening.
Well, we're waiting.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, a.k.a. John Kreese from Cobra Kai, and you're listening to
Quiet, Please.
Let the word go out from here across the land. Let Daddy Noonan approve.
Hi, boys. Nice day for golf, ain't it? Quiet, please. Oh, you got secrets, eh?
Hey, this is Shooter McGavin. You're listening to the...
Hey, you guys. Hey, we're trying to have a podcast over here.
Welcome, everybody. We are a little shorthanded on the Quiet Please end, but we have a full house with some great guests today. I'm Andy Hydorn. I'm your Timu Quiet Please podcast host here today, and joined by our friend Boston Bob Baldassari here. And we have some great guests with us this week. A couple of legends in the ladies game. And first of all, I'm going to say hello to Trish Johnson. Welcome, Trish.
Hi, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah. Trish was Rookie of the Year on the Ladies European Tour, 1987. She won 3 times in her first year. She won 19 overall Ladies European Tour events. She came over and got her LPGA Tour card to play in the States. Won 3 times on the LPGA Tour. Won 3 senior majors, and appeared in 8 Solheim Cups. So we're happy to have you here, Trish, and looking forward to a great show.
It's a pleasure to be here, Andy. Thank you for asking.
And we also have Laura Davies here, Dame Laura Davies. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks, Andy.
So Laura has an amazing career of statistics. She won 86 times worldwide. She was the second non-American to win the LPGA money list. The Ladies European Tour, she won the Order of Merit 7 times. She won 4 majors. She was on the inaugural Solheim Cup team, and the first one, actually. And she was also inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame. So again, welcome both of you. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
They need a golf club.
Yeah, it does need a golf club.
That just proves that she got lucky more times than most people. That's
Exactly.
It.
It's all about luck.
Yeah. So the ladies are playing a senior major this week in Utah. Both Trish and Laura are playing in the ladies LPGA, senior LPGA championship. So they are preparing for a major up there. And in a couple of weeks, they're going to be making a little trip to Kentucky. And Bob can talk about that a little bit.
Well, do you first want the trivia?
Okay, let's throw the Quiet Please trivia question out.
Did you buy your mulligan at the registration table?
Yeah.
Okay. You can you get 2 mulligans tonight. Okay. All right. Well, there's a little tie into the PGA Championship with this trivia, but can you name the 3 PGA Tour players since World War II that have been the fastest to win 15 tour wins, including 3 majors?
Well, Scottie Scheffler, obviously.
That might be one of them, right?
Laura's wicked smart. Can you name the other 2?
Well, Tiger.
Very good.
That one wasn't rocket science.
I'll say Rory, obviously.
The 3 would be Tiger, Jack, and Scottie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. That's a good threesome.
That's not bad.
Right.
Good company there. So, coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be with Trish and Laura. We'll be here at the Woodford Club in Versailles, Kentucky, just outside of Lexington, for the 3rd annual Woodford Invitational, Woodford Legend Invitational. We have an amazing, like when you look at the names that are coming into the Woodford Club, you've got Trish, you've got Laura, you've got Pat Bradley this year, Julie Inkster, Hollis Stacy, Shane Blaylock, Michelle McGann. I mean, it's really truly an amazing roster of players. World Golf Hall of Famers. I'm standing on the first tee going, this is incredible. And it's all, as you know, the game of golf raises, I believe it's about 4.5 billion with a B dollars for fundraising every year. So with the help of tour players, with the help of PGA and LPGA professionals around the country, there's a lot of money that's raised for all these good causes. And we think we have a great cause. We partner with KBC Kentucky, which is based in, well, it's in 7 states. In Kentucky here, they do an amazing job to help families stay together with health and behavioral health help through the court system. So families stay together, families are stronger, communities are stronger. And so that's our shining light there, that with Trish's help and Laura coming in. So June 7 and June 8, we moved it to a Saturday, Sunday, will be the 2 36 holes event. It's a 2-person team. So we're looking at one of the teams right here. And we've got some, again, amazing LPGA players. And a neat thing that we put in, and, you know, I think I was talking to you, Trish, last year about it, but I had so many nice comments. We have a dozen of the best Kentucky amateur ladies that play as well. Some are younger, some are experienced and seasoned. And to combine them both out there, they play in different divisions. But after the first day, we repair. And it's really neat to see, you know, some of the younger players that look up to you two and might aspire. One of the players last year, Lainey Fry, went to the LPGA qualifying school. And, you know, it was really neat. The comments on both sides were just amazing, way better than we thought. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. If you're local to Kentucky, we would love you to come out and take this whole event in. It's just to see the players up close. There's not as many ropes and there's not as many things in the way. You can walk up and ask a question to Laura and Trish. And so we're really, you know, it's a pleasure and a privilege to have both of you at the Woodford Club. And there's more information if you go to woodfordclubfoundation.org. We have tickets and sponsorship information there. So looking forward to having you here soon.
Can't wait to get up there.
It's been a cool spring. The rough is healthy. So
oh no, don't say that.
Driving and play.
It's lush and green. Yeah. So I have a question for the both of you. How do you feel like the opportunities are there for you to continue to play competitive golf as a senior? Do you feel like there's enough stuff to keep you engaged and keep you interested, or would you like to see more, or what are your thoughts on that?
You want to go?
Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, I mean, we had a players meeting last night, and I think the people in charge are very well aware that I think players, you know, you need more tournaments. We've probably got maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5, and a couple of, you know, the team events and great, but we need more individual tournaments, not massive amounts, if I'm honest. Probably need to raise the level of the events, maybe round about, I think everybody agrees it's maybe about 8 tournaments or so, but at a, you know, a level that when you're turning up and you know, you've got to be making money. At the end of the day, you're still playing for a living. But I think they're doing it. I think they're very well aware, and they've got some really good people working on it as well. So I think things are looking, from what we heard last night, certainly looking very much on the bright side. Would you agree, Laz?
Yeah, I think so, definitely. And as you say, people are working hard, and the girls just want to play. You know, there was talk of, oh, let's try and get 15 events. Well, a lot of the players are happy to play 8. 8 was the number that was mentioned, and I didn't hear anyone say, no, we need more, just at that, as Trish said, at a top level. And the standard would get better and better, because these are great players. You know how good they were, but the more tournaments you play, the better you become in getting your scoring boots back on is the best way of describing it. So it would be great, but Trish has pointed out people are working very hard to get this done. And obviously going up to Woodford next week and or 2 weeks' time, the team events are really good fun. Just love it. It's less pressure, and it's just really good fun to play.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on what those new events would look like? I know you have majors to play in, but above and beyond that, what could they put together that would make sense and would still be competitive and get your interest?
Well, I think it. Do you know what? It's difficult because everybody's got, I mean, a different agenda to a certain extent. Like from our point of view, when you're traveling over from England, really what would suit us would be to have a bulk of tournaments at the same time. So this time last year we were in Utah, then Laura played a tournament in Dallas the week after, and then we came to Woodford. So there were 3 weeks on the bounce,
which is nice,
which is perfect. But that doesn't, that suits us coming from overseas, doesn't necessarily suit a lot of the other players. Might have kids. I know there were a lot of graduating last year and players couldn't play. It's very different for women when they're in their 50s and when they've got children and all that sort of stuff going on. So, but I think realistically, if we're looking at 8 tournaments, we're looking at like this tournament this week is 400 grand, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's 400,000. You have to be looking at that level. You have to be looking at, we need 8 sort of tournaments, and then supplement them with one-day events that don't need to be, that sort of level at all. And the team events, as Laura said, are just fantastic. Everybody loves those events. They're a different type of pressure. They're more fun, but they're still good money, and there's a great opportunity. And as Laura said, the more you play, when you just come out and play one tournament every, 5-6 weeks, it's very difficult just to make that event, be back in competitive mode. If you're playing 3 on the bounce, you might not play great the first week, but you're getting your competitive juices flowing, and by the 3rd week you think, I found something here, and it feels so much more natural, if you like.
Do you think it's sort of like it was maybe back in the 1980s with the PGA Tour, and they had the smattering of some senior stuff, and then it sort of worked into what is now the Champions Tour? And is that something that, I don't know if that's the best analogy. I've talked more than a few people, because what we're doing at the Woodford Club, trying to really help get some things going, if we can help be one of the early events that can help knit some of these things together, Trish, if it's 8 of them and we could grow this one, and someday have something like a Champions Tour going, because you hit it right in the button. There's so much good competitors out there. The golf is excellent, and we need to help you shine.
Yeah, I think as Trish said, that we're talking about, if you had 8 tournaments, I think you can legitimately call that a tour, and then it becomes, you get points for every, and you have a money list, and it just becomes, it'll never be like the Champions Tour, because what happens in the women's game is most of the girls are finished around about, at their very best level at 35, 40 years old, and then they have to wait 5 years to get on the Legends Tour, and then to play in the US Open, you've got to wait 10 years. And it's very difficult to keep the level. Whereas on the Champions Tour, the guys are still playing some of the best ones. Steve Stricker, I think, Jim Furyk, they're playing top class golf until they're 50. So when they get on the Champions Tour, there's no real letdown. All right, they're playing a slightly shorter course. They're playing against the guys they used to play yesteryear. But it's an easy transition. It's really difficult for the girls to keep really competitive from that 35, 40 age to when we can get going again. And as Trish said, the more we play, the better we'll get, and the better the galleries will see that we might be. I'm 60 now. Some of the girls are 45 that are playing this week. They've got a big advantage, but we can all still play, and I think people appreciate that.
Yeah, what do you think the reason is for that, Laura? Is it just kind of an interest thing, or is it just what would be the reason for that?
You tell me. I think that whenever we go to a site, obviously at Woodford, we seem to be really well received. We come here to Utah. We used to go to French Lick, Indiana, and we're always really well received. But it doesn't then kick on. Then we move off to different places, and everyone says how much they miss us. But I don't quite know how you fill that gap from loving us being there and then keeping it going and building the prize funds and quite honestly making it where the players feel like it's worth going out on the range every day to keep that really great swing. Because my last tournament was the US Open in August last year. It's a long time between events. And it's difficult. So sometimes, it's freezing cold in England and you think, well, I should go and practice really. And you think, what's the point? I'm not playing till May. So it's a very different thing between the Champions Tour and the Legends Tour. You can't really compare them, although you'd like them to be a little bit more similar.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. I play a lot of senior amateur golf, and it's funny that the desire factor is definitely plays a big part in it. And some people just continue to love the game and love to compete and just want more and more and more. And others kind of just fall off. They've done that. They've been there. They've done that. They've kind of, seen it through, and they don't really have the desire anymore. And I think that's an interesting component of the whole thing as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of the women, I think a lot of the older women still have a massive desire to play. And I think, the difference in the LPGA Tour now is the money that they're playing for is so vast that by the time they get to, if they were anywhere near as successful as sort of, Laura and all her, all those guys, crikey, they'd be gazillionaires. So at the age of 30, they don't really, the money's irrelevant. Whereas, quite honestly, it's not irrelevant here at all. Yeah, there might. I mean, I don't know everybody's situation, but certainly, as far as I'm concerned, and that's just you've got to work, you've got to pay the bills. So it's still very relevant. But there's a passion and a love of golf that I think probably 99% of us still really have, and the desire to play well never leaves you, even if you aren't playing well. But that odd shot that you still hit and you think, yeah. I mean, I've seen Laura hit a couple of shots. It was a while ago now. It was a team event we were playing. And I mean, at a time, I think she was still 55 or something. And she hit one of those shots that even then I'm looking at it thinking, bloody hell, seriously? And I'm looking at the kids thinking, good luck, because you can't hit that shot. And it's brilliant, and it just brings that sort of desire back to you that you just you want to work a little bit harder, and you'd love to have the tournaments to play in to make it worthwhile.
Laura, we had a question come in off of Facebook, and from one of the ladies I know, Catherine Baker, and she really loves your commentary on the Women's Open Championship, and wished you could do more on American TV, because she really loves your insightful comments, and obviously with all your wealth of experience, your keen eye for seeing what's happening in the action. And is that something you're going to be looking to do more of, the TV commentary?
Well, I do. I work for Sky Sports, and I work mainly on the PGA Tour. So like I was doing last week, I was at Quail Hollow doing that. Unfortunately, the only women's event I do is with Trish. Trish is part of the Sky team for the women's AIG. So that's the only women's one I do. But yeah, I do. I'm probably doing 25 tournaments this year, commentating on the men's PGA Tour. So I do a lot of it. Would I like to do more in America? Yeah, because they pay a lot more money and I'm a mercenary.
and they love a British voice too. It's always been part of American golf coverage, right? They've always had that iconic British golf voice.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
And so this week you're getting ready tomorrow morning to play in another major. Tell us about what's going through up in Utah.
Yeah, I kick off. First tee time I think is 9 o'clock. I think I'm second off tomorrow 9. Yeah, the course is great. The greens are hard and fast. That's an understatement of the year. I hope the pin positions for the Pro-Am today were either somebody that woke up with a bit of a sense of humour, or they're just saving the decent parts of the greens for us for the next couple of days, because God help us if they're not. But the weather looks great. Course is in lovely, superb condition. And yeah, if it stays like this, actually, and doesn't, because it can get really windy here. It's not called hurricane for no reason. Yeah, we'll see. Do you know what? It's one of those golf courses. I don't know if Laz will agree or not, but if you play really well, you think, cool, there's a really low score out there. But if you have one of those days where you're just not, because there's loads of wedges, but they put that doesn't make it easy to get near the flags, because they put the flag, like I remember last year, 11. It's a tiny little, you've got a half a wedge in, but they put it 4 yards on the green, and there's 1 yard either side. And if you don't hit that 1 yard either side, you're stuffed. So it's brilliant. Kind of, there is a score out there, but there's also, it could be a bit dodgy. And if the wind gets up, God help us all.
Well, it's interesting, Laura. You know, you were at Quail Hollow last week, and I think we would do our guests justice and our listeners justice by talking a little bit about what happened last week. What was it that stuck out to you last week at the PGA Championship?
It's just that it's that green mile. They can score up until the 16th tee, and all of a sudden, all sanity seems to go out the window. It's not even a mile either. That really irritates me. It's about 2/3 of a mile, so it's the green 2/3 of a mile. And yeah, Scottie Scheffler basically won it Saturday night, didn't he? When he played the last 5 holes, which includes 2 very birdieable holes in 14 and 15, but they played them in 5 under par. Whereas most of the field, we saw John Rahm on Sunday drop 5 shots in those last 2 holes. He drew alongside last 3 holes. Sorry, he drew alongside Scottie at the turn, both at 9 under, and we thought, well, Scottie Scheffler, he's definitely catchable here, you know, and John just couldn't hunt him down, and Scottie does what Scottie does and just starts making easy pars on really hard holes, and went on to a 5-shot victory. I mean, he bogeyed the last. If he'd needed to par the last, he probably would have.
For sure. You know, it was interesting to me. No disrespect to the PGA Championship, but it just seemed like it was not really on the level with all the other majors to me. The leaderboard seemed kind of random a little bit, and it's rare that you get a random leaderboard at the Open or at the US Open or at the Masters.
Yeah, I just wonder whether it was a bit sort of after the Lord Mayor's show, really, because of McIlroy's victory at Augusta, which everybody's been waiting for so long. And I think the next major, wherever it may have been, probably was always going to maybe suffer a little bit because of that, because it's just been such a, you know, and the turnaround so quick as well. What, 3 weeks was it between the Masters and PGA, I think? So, you know, it might have something to do, because Quail Hollow, you know, really and truly, there shouldn't be any reason that the leaderboard would be that random, because JT and Rory, and they love it and they play great there in the past, but that didn't necessarily happen. And yeah, it's funny actually, because you say it's random. I remember looking Saturday night thinking, Jesus, this can be brilliant, because there were a few of our guys up there as well. You know, Aaron Rye, and I think Tommy had a chance. Maybe was maybe within 4 or 5 shots or something like that. And it was an exciting looking leaderboard, and you think Rahm, and is he going to be able to, handle the pressure sort of thing, because of what he does now. And maybe that it has that interest, because you sort of think, well, those live golfers, when it does come to the crunch, can they handle it? And Bryson, of course, I was saying me and Laura were talking about the other day. Bryson's just, well, it's madhouse watching him, isn't it? It's absolute madhouse, and he's so entertaining to watch. But
yeah,
he's bonkers as well, isn't it? It's just the whole thing is really. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good event.
Yeah, and I think as the week wore on, the leaderboard got less random, and that does happen from major to major too. But yeah, the live thing, we talk about live a lot here on this show, in the dynamics of what live has done really to the PGA Tour as an entity, and then to the players that left. And I think you just hit the nail on the head that it must be a lot of pressure. And I think about your comments about you guys only played like 4 tournaments a year. That's kind of what they're feeling too. I know they have their live events, but for them, for the people who really care, the Rahms and the Brysons and Joaquin Niemann, I think is one of those guys. Like I really feel like the pressure to perform at a major is totally amped up for those guys.
Well, yeah, I mean they're coming off 3-round shotgun starts. They start randomly on any hole. You might start on a 230-yard par 3 or an easy reachable par 5. That's not a level playing field for me, and I think that's why I don't have an issue with live. I couldn't care less. If I'd been offered back in the day lots of money to go and play part-time golf, I would have said thank you very much. Where do I sign? So I'm not criticizing the guys for doing it, but you have to understand, Cam Smith had just won the Open. He can't hit a barn door anymore, which is such a shame, because I love the way he plays, love his attitude. Poor Dustin Johnson, I know he's a bit older. He struggles. John Rahm, I thought John Rahm was fantastic last week. I mean, it's so unfortunate he had those 5 shots at the end. He should have been second. He should have been a couple behind Scottie maybe at the end of it. But I think it's really difficult for them to play 54-hole shotguns and then go and play. And let's not forget, they're playing major championships on the hardest possible golf courses. Not that the golf courses they play necessarily easy, but they are most certainly easier when you see them. You see where they're hitting it and the scores that they're shooting. I just think it's a bit of a shock. Bryson's overcome it quite clearly. Jochen Niemann is fantastic. He will win a major soon. He's just too good a player. But the older ones, even Brooks Koepka, who did brilliantly the first few years of LIV and winning PGA and looking like he hadn't missed a beat. Well, he looks like he's missing a beat now.
Yeah, we totally agree with you. It just, the Cam Smith thing has always been really hard for me to kind of watch, because the one thing that struck me when Cam Smith left was, you're hearing from him that he was homesick, traveling in the US, wasn't really what he liked or what he wanted. And, you take that reason to go to LIV, and then you take a Dustin Johnson who went to LIV because he got paid a bunch of money and seemingly doesn't care as much about golf as he used to. And it just seems like there are different types of players that ended up on the LIV Golf Tour, and I do feel bad for some of those players, because I think
they've all got about 150, 200 million. I don't feel bad for them at all.
No, I don't either. No.
Okay, so we can disagree on that.
I think the thing, Andy, is like Laura said with Cam Smith, when he just literally, that Open he won at St Andrews was so sort of special. The way he managed to, it was Rory's the whole time. But the amount of putts that Smith holed in those the back 9, he was absolutely tough as, he's as tough as nails. And then to go from there, you'd think, right, his career is just on a massive upward trajectory. What can he achieve over the next few years? And basically, the gist of it to me, and like Laura said, good luck to him, because I think it'd probably be really difficult for anybody, rumoured 100 million, to turn that down. But it's almost like, I'm not backing myself, because I don't know that this isn't going to be the norm. This might be the absolute pinnacle of my career. So if someone's going to offer me 100 million, and I don't have to work as hard, I don't have to work my arse off to try and keep getting better, I'm going to take it. Fair play to him. But I think that's what it's, that's what it says. It's the ones that haven't taken it. They're the ones that, I'm prepared to. I want something different apart from just money. But it's very difficult to turn down, I would say.
Yeah, I think we've all fallen in the camp of not one time criticizing any one of those guys that got paid a bunch of money to do that. I just think in hindsight, what it's done to some of their careers is kind of a shame, and it takes away from the landscape of professional golf in general.
A lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda. You never know. Cam Smith, maybe he could have won some more majors. So it's sort of like, as they say, that ship is floated or gone. One more thing about the PGA, because you both have played majors, and when Rory, even Scottie with the driver, had to come out of play because it failed testing. Just curious how that would affect you, your mindset. Maybe that's why, it was interesting Rory didn't speak with the media all week as well.
Yeah, we don't hit it hard enough to make the face of our drivers get too thin. These are elite players that hit the ball, and Rory volunteered that. It wasn't like he was asked to produce. But I've heard from some of the other guys that know him reasonably well. He quite often has it checked. It's not a random thing that they come and say, right, we're checking your driver. It's a concern, because they're always on the limits, these manufacturers, to get the best out of it. And they know every so often they've got to change it. Now, if Rory's not gone to the press this week, I don't think it's anything to do with that. If he doesn't want to talk, I know it's not great, But I think cut the guy a bit of slack. My goodness, what he'd done after he won the Masters, he must have been worn out. And he wasn't doing well in the tournament. Does anyone really care if Rory shoots 3 over and he's 10 behind the leader after day one? I always think just cut those particular players just a little bit of slack.
Yeah, I mean, after that was such a mammoth, emotional, physical, psychological mountain he went over. I mean, I figured I thought he wouldn't play his best at the PGA. I just thought he's still, I don't know, he's going to take some time to just come down off of that. I agree. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but
no.
I don't know. That was the Quail Hollow was the last event that I worked when I was at the PGA America. So I walked the course, and I mean it's a big course. It's a big, and those last 3 holes are like, you see them up close, they're pretty strong. But that was interesting with the driver situation, and just want to get your take on that.
Yeah, so our Don't Be That Guy segment of the week comes to our friend Bryson DeChambeau again, who immediately gets in front of a microphone at the end of the tournament and starts talking about how he needs to change his equipment again. And that's why, he felt like he didn't perform like he needed to perform. And, he did the same thing after the Masters. And I don't get it. I don't quite understand why that seems to be his go-to after every tournament that he may not, have the result that he wanted.
I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was his. What he said. What the equipment he was using was not. What
was not appropriate for him. I guess his golf ball has too much side spin on it. One of the things he said.
I've got one of those at the moment. I can't get it straight.
Right.
Yeah, oh my God! But my golf was brilliant. It's me. Sometimes it's not the equipment, it's the person swinging it. But yeah, I'm with Trish. I'm not sure about that. They've got the top level gear. They've got everything. Our whole careers, we've had everything given us. We've always been given the best chance, and to blame your equipment is pretty poor.
Well, he's done it in the last 2 majors. Like the first thing he said at the microphone was about his equipment, and I just find it to be funny that, like, knowing the way he is, that he did everything under the sun to get his equipment right by Thursday morning, that by Sunday he had it figured out what he needed to do to change it. I mean, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No, it really doesn't.
So that's our Bryson DeChambeau Don't Be That Guy moment of the week.
No, that's crazy. That's it. Do you know what? It's funny because he had the right driver, because I don't think I've ever seen anybody drive the ball that well and that straight. But and he's got the right sound iron as well, because he's unbelievable out of bunkers. But I'm not sure the irons are the problem. I think the swing's the problem. I think it might have been Paul McGinley actually. I remember listening to him, and he was so right. He hits that driver at 190 mile an hour, whatever it is, ball speed. But he's trying to do the same with his irons, and you can't do that with wedges and 9 irons and 8 irons, and so you can maybe longer irons, but they're full out all the time. He's trying to hit 180, 190 yard 9 irons.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it, because he didn't seem to be doing that 2-3 years ago. I don't remember him doing that when he won the Open last year. I don't remember him trying to hit a 9 iron and absolutely knock the block off it. It just doesn't seem right. Don't know. But
the thing that always got me was, you guys know, as much competitive golf that you play and have played, how important gapping is through your whole set of clubs. Well, driving it like he does and hitting a 9 iron 190 yards, well, why do you need the rest of your clubs? And it just doesn't make sense to me that all the other longer irons in his set, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me.
The thing is, his 9 iron is a 9 iron in name only. It's probably a 7 iron from the old days. So it's just, I don't really understand. I don't see how you can swing a a sand iron with a 6-iron shaft in it. That amuses me as well. So maybe he just needs to get a conventional set of clubs and have a go and just see what happens. Maybe he's tried that and it doesn't work.
Well, far be it from us to figure out what's going through his mind. So we're going to do the Quiet Please hot seat now. So we're going to ask you both. I'm going to go back and forth. Just 9 quick questions. Give us your quick, easy answer. So Trish, we'll start with you. What's your best 18-hole score ever?
In number or under par?
Good question. How about in number?
58.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, you can't count that.
How many under par was it?
It was a question. It was an honest answer, right?
A course down in Southampton, that a par, I don't know, a par 60 something. No, you're not having that.
All right. 11 under, 62.
Awesome. Laura, how about you?
That was Jeff.
I had a 10 under par 62, so she's got me there. I've never had 11 under.
All right. So Laura, what's a favorite course you've ever played?
St Andrews.
And what course is on your bucket list that you haven't played?
I'd love to play. I played Augusta in '93. I'd love to have one more go around Augusta. I just love that place.
Awesome. Trish, what's your favorite course ever played?
Yeah, I mean, it's a boring answer, but I have to say it's the same one. It's St Andrews.
That's fair.
Of course, it's just, yeah. But bucket list, and believe it or not, I honestly, Pebble Beach, that area, those 3, if I could play those 3 courses, Pebble Beach, Spyglass, and
Cypress Point.
Cypress, yeah, I would love to.
Well, I think you should make that happen.
Yeah.
So, Trish, who's your favorite golfer of all time, male or female?
Seve.
Seve. Laura.
Yeah, Seve. If you're a European golfer,
yeah.
Man, woman, child, Seve. If you're in the right era, Seve's the man.
Okay. All right, Laura, what's the most cringe-worthy look on the golf course?
Cringe-worthy look?
Yep.
I had a dodgy pair of strides on today, so maybe it was that. I don't know.
Is that what you mean?
You were the cringe-worthy look of the day today?
I think so, yeah. I'll count myself in. Actually, it was yesterday. There were a dodgy pair of trousers.
Okay. Trish?
Cringe-worthy look? I thought you meant actually the look on someone's face, but you're actually talking about clothes,
No,
are you?
like clothing or shoes
clothing.
or
anything.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I would just someone that quite clearly has got up and they've had didn't put the light on and you know.
fair enough.
Actually, no. I tell you what, we change that to any Brit abroad, any Brit abroad in shorts and socks, black socks with
long socks.
That's
now
the
you're
look.
on it.
There you
now
go.
You're on it.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
Yeah.
Trish, what's your favorite halfway house indulgence?
Ooh.
All those little sausage things they have
Well,
over there?
there's a golf course we used to play in the Scottish Open, Archerfield, and they have these little. They're almost like a cross between a sausage roll and a mince pie type thing. Absolutely exquisite. Yeah, Archerfield halfway house.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Laura, how about you?
I'll go Wentworth, the turn on the west coast in the sausage sandwich in there. That takes a lot of beating.
Yeah. Okay, Laura, what's your favorite post-round beverage?
Oh, it's a shandy, a pint of bitter shandy for me all day long. Love it.
All right, Trish.
Oh, it's got to be a glass of rosé champers.
Okay. So this question's my favorite, and just give a little thought to this, but quickly describe the best shot you've ever hit, time, place, and circumstance.
I know my best shot I ever hit. It was in Sweden. I didn't win the tournament, but it was Annika was right there. I was trying to close Annika down, and I had about 250 yards across water, par 5 second shot, and I hit a driver to about 6 feet. And even my caddy, a guy called Paul, his nickname was Nobby, even he was impressed. And if you can impress Nobby, you know you hit a good shot.
Wow, that's an amazing shot.
That is awesome. Trish,
I'm trying to come up with one, and the thing is, I'm just trying to think of something where Laura's turned round and said that was a good shot. Because if she said it's a good shot,
you had a chip in. You had a chip in Taiwan, the likes of which I've never seen before. That's my favourite shot you ever hit. Because we were a team, and it benefited me.
Yeah, I'll go with that one. I don't remember it.
It was the most ridiculous shot I've ever seen. It was impossible to G-hold it. I'll never forget it. And the wind was blowing at about 60 miles an hour too.
Oh, that's when we played with Alfie and Lotta, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on that. It was on the back nine.
Yeah. Everybody needs friends like Laura to tell them what their favorite shot was.
That was my favourite shot of hers, but
exactly.
I'm sure she's hit many more.
Exactly. So, Trish, what do you cherish most about the game of golf?
Do you know, I think, funny enough, we were having this conversation the other day. What does it teach you? And I think golf is so good because it teaches you so many life skills, because it's a bugger of a game, and from you learn it from a young age. Do you know what? So I think it's a bit different now, but when we were growing up, it taught you how to be a kid and be an adult and have adult conversation, know when to speak and when not to speak. It taught you manners, and it teaches you humility, all the things, because it's such a hard game. So I think it teaches you an awful lot of life skills very, very easily. And you have to learn to deal with huge amounts of disappointment, because you'll always be, no matter how good, even if you're as good as Laura, you always have more disappointments than you do successes, because that's just the nature of the beast.
That's a great answer. How about you, Laura?
I think it's the competition, whether it's playing in a major championship on the pro tour or just playing at home now with my friends, over the winter in horrific conditions, just trying to beat them, just so they've got to give you that £5 note at the end of the day, or 10 if you can do them on the back nine as well. That for me is what all golf's about. It's just chance to win at something and playing with your friends. It doesn't matter, the standard. Golf's a great game where you can play with the best player in the world or a 28 handicapper and still have a great day out.
That's awesome. Last question, Laura. How many hole-in-ones do you have?
13.
13.
Wow.
Trish, how many do you have?
11.
Bingo.
Just always falling a little bit short, aren't you?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
I'm used to it. Don't worry, Andy. I'm used to it.
I hear you. I'm sure many people are used to it with Laura. Well, you both survived the hot seat. Thank you for indulging us and letting us learn a little bit more about you. So we are now at the end of the show, and Robert, why don't you give us your final thought?
All right, I'll tee off here on 18. Laura and Trish, thanks again for being with us. It's great to get to meet you the last year and have you at the club, and we're excited to get you and all the other players back for the Woodford Legends Invitational at the Woodford Club coming up in a couple of weeks. So I can't wait to see you there. And I guess the final thought, well, Trish, you just sort of mentioned it, and when I was at PGA America headquarters, I was the one that was helping to put this PGA Junior League together. So I've gone full circle with PGA Junior League, from the administrator running it nationally to now I have a team the last couple of years at the Woodford Club. And so tonight, as Andy's texting me, hey, we need to get together before, go through the show. I'm out on the course at the Woodford Club. And in a short amount of time this spring, I've got about 6 kids that are brand new to the game. And tonight was a great example of my and everybody has a nickname. So my little guy is like 8 years old. His name is Cool Hand Luke. So he hits a 40-yard shot and it hits the pin and almost goes in. He's, ecstatic. My one girl, Abby, hits her best drive ever in our match Saturday. This little girl, Ella, is coming along great. This girl, Kenna, here's the great thing. She now can hit a half a wedge. So when you start to learn the game and it's not full-blown, full swing, that you can start to get some soft arms and between clubs and choke down, hit shots to become a golfer. It's just a really, really neat thing to see these kids coming along. And when we're out there at the club, I'm telling these young girls especially, hey, come back in a few weeks, and right there, right on the 12th hole, right where you hit that shot, Laura Davies, Trish Johnson, these best lady golfers of all time are going to be right there hitting the same shots you're hitting. So I want you to know it's very special having you at the club. You continue to inspire these girls throughout the year, even when you're not here.
Awesome.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to seeing you.
Trish, what are your final thoughts?
I just, it's just lovely to do shows like this where you have so many different opinions, and especially in this day and age where you can actually have a show and you can have 4 different opinions, and everybody can. That saying that doesn't happen anymore. Agree to disagree. In life that can't be anymore. If I have an opinion, it must be right and you must be wrong. And so I think golf is one of those games where it's like everybody's favorite player. It's about Liv. It's about PGA Tour. We all have very different opinions, and we're all entitled to them, and they're just not the same. And I think it's great that we can do these shows, and we're very lucky, I think, as Legends Tour players, to have so many great clubs, great people like Bob, and this week where we are in Utah, run tournaments for us. And there's a lot of good golf to be seen out here, but we're very grateful for the people that still look after us very well.
Awesome. Laura, final thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's just not lost on us as we've gone through our careers that people really do want to see the Legends Tour get better and better and give us a chance to prolong our careers for as long as we can. And without people like you, that doesn't happen. And it's not lost on us, I can assure you of that. But my absolute final thought has to be, did you say it was young Kenna that hit the 3/4 shot, the little knockdown? Well, yes. She needs to be Bryson DeChambeau's coach, and he might win another major.
Exactly. And her nickname's Special K, so I'm going to tell her that.
Yeah, tell Special K, go and see Bryson and teach him a few things.
Yep.
Well, thank you both for being on the show. It's an honor for us to be able to talk to you and talk about the game that we all love, and know just how successful you both have been in your careers. And we wish you both best of luck this week out in Utah.
Thank you very much. Very much appreciate it.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us on.
All right. Let me see if I can end this the right way.
What's the final?
You've done well.
Here we go.
You only have one opportunity to sell your golf property. Shouldn't you partner with an expert that offers you 30-plus years of golf industry experience, combined with the reach of a global leader in real estate? Colliers International Golf Brokerage and Advisory Services understands your unique business needs. Whether it is brokerage, management, and consulting, be reassured that the market leader in the business of golf is providing you the real answers and practical solutions you deserve. Contact Golf Talk Live co-host and Colliers Golf Advisory Services member Alan Depew today at 717-554-8519. That's 717-554-8519.